Arsenal moved to within 2 points of Premier League leaders Liverpool courtesy of a 4-1 victory over Newcastle United at the Emirates Stadium on Saturday night. A Sven Botman own goal sent Mikel Arteta's side on their way before Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka and Jakub Kiwior registered as the Gunners bounced back from the Champions League loss to Porto in true style. Arsenal are third in the table, 1 point behind second-placed Manchester City and 2 from the leaders Liverpool in a fascinating title race, while Newcastle, who had a late consolation through Joe Willock, remained down in 8th, 10 points behind 5th-placed Tottenham Hotspur in the battle for Champions League qualification. Let's go around the punditry world to hear what the experts are saying about Arsenal's splendid performance against Newcastle United.
So as I say, what a title race we've got. All three of them have 12 to play, and they are separated by just 2 points. Liverpool 1 clear of City, who are 1 clear of Arsenal. Villa in 4th, Newcastle stay in 8th. Everton's point nudges them above Luton, who of course game in hand is away at Bournemouth. They would have had the chance to go within 1 point of Nottingham Forest, who are 4 clear of the drop zone. Brentford 5 ahead of their clash with West Ham on Monday.
Kai, congratulations. Did that feel like a much-needed win after a disappointing midweek?
Yeah, definitely. I think... Are you okay? Yeah, it was very important. It was a tough game on Wednesday, but we wanted to win today, and I think we deserved it today.
A goal for you. You assisted as well today. It's the first time you've done that in a Premier League game for Arsenal. What was the difference today? Did Jorginho make a difference coming into the side to allow you to play further forward?
Yeah, I mean, I know him quite a lot, a long time now. So for me, it's always nice to play with him. I know him very well, he knows me very well, so it makes sometimes life very easy for me. And yeah, he's a world-class player, and he showed it again today.
Bukayo, thanks for coming to join us. 16 goals for you now this season. What about that finish as well? Some would call it world-class.
No comment, but yeah, I'm happy with another goal today, and most importantly, I'm happy to win.
And you're reaching new levels of consistency now. 7 goals in your last 5 Premier League games. How are you doing that?
Well, I'm working hard every day in the training ground and giving my best, and obviously I have great teammates give me good passes, so that helps as well.
We're listening to your song in the stadium at the moment, Kai. What was that sound like in the stadium when your goal went in?
Yeah, amazing. It's always nice to play here. I think the fans, they give us so much energy. We discussed that before, that they are so important for us, and they showed it again today, and it always gives us a big boost.
You guys have been scoring so many goals lately. What has that been down to?
I think we've been working hard on the training pitch, like I said, and we have a lot of quality going forward, and I feel like it's just starting to click now. We're all playing with a lot of confidence, and the chemistry is building as well, so we just need to continue like this.
And in this title race, just 2 points separate the top 3. Was it important that you put in a performance like this tonight, just to remind the fans here that you can do something special this season?
Yes, it was very, very important.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's crucial to win games, especially when both of the teams, they won before us, so have to put pressure on them, and that's what we do, or try to do.
Well done tonight, guys. Congrats.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Martin Keown and Rio Ferdinand watching with me. And Rio, if it was a boxing match in the first half, the referee may have stopped it.
Yeah, it was a really impressive performance today, I thought. I think, especially, we know it's like going away in Europe and not getting the result you want. They got beat last minute. That can dampen any team spirits. But their intensity, their intent from the first whistle was there for all to see, and I think for me that was the most impressive thing. The response to the midweek result was huge, and it was imperative that they got back to winning ways, but the style in which they done that today was hugely impressive, and it shows the character, it shows the personality, it shows the belief, but it shows actually these guys, they're sniffing something. There's a league title to be won here, and there's 3 teams in it now, and they're saying, listen guys, we are the guys, we're involved as well. Man City, you won it last year, but we're coming back again, and we lost it. We were there all season, and it looks like now they're going to be there again this season, which is good.
And Eddie Howe would have had 7 days to prepare for this game. And then what Arsenal did was they found solutions. So they changed the structure. They put Jorginho at the bottom, where they try to build their attacks. They brought the wide players off the line, and they made it much more difficult for Newcastle. It wasn't predictable, which they've become a little bit. And even when Saka scores that goal, sometimes now he scored the last 2 goals before today with his right foot, hits that one with his left. And I think these solutions is clever from the manager. Jorginho coming in for this one, played against Liverpool last time. He's a really good string to their bow when he comes in. Smart, he's like the coach on the pitch. I really like the way, good shout by the way, giving him man of the match. And it's the next step. But you just got, it's a must-win game every week now for Arsenal, because when you look at what Liverpool can do and what City do, the standards are really high, and Arsenal are in there nicely.
Because he hardly makes any changes to that team, but the one he did make tonight was a key one, so influential.
It was, but again, we're standing here talking about the result. The fans are still here. No one's asking where's the number 9. No. And that only happens when your team's functioning well and players are scoring and finishing chances. And that was the difference between now and the beginning of the season. They were still creating chances earlier in the season, but they just weren't capitalising and finishing them off. They weren't efficient. They've become a very efficient team and a unit right now.
In those 6 wins this year, it's 25 goals. Wow. Are you seeing some similarities to Man City pre-Haaland?
I think you could say that, but they've got I think it's 6 wins now, isn't it? On the bounce. They need to go and do 12, 15 of them or whatever. So that's when you can start mentioning them in the same realm as someone like Manchester City who've been there, done it, got the trophies. This team is it's working, it's building towards that, and you've got to manage that and don't try and jump. And
there's 12 games left, so to win all the games, you literally got to win every. That's 18.
It's scary when you think that's
I've been
close.
A part of a 12-game finish to win a league.
But that's doing something here they haven't done yet. That's the difference, isn't it?
And there's some huge games for Arsenal to come up, isn't there? Games against Manchester
United. We know
you're
invincible, Martin. We know.
We knew we're getting it again. Get it in at some point.
Did I mention that?
You shoehorn that in again. This winning run, 6 games it is now, the most they've ever done under Arteta is 7. We've spoken before, haven't we, Rio, about how Man City in their title-winning campaigns have these 10-plus games of wins in a row. Liverpool have done it a couple of times as well. How key is that in a title race?
Yeah, it's key at the business end of the season, and this is where it becomes nitty-gritty, and this is where experience does count for something, but also these guys, I think the manager and the way that he kind of shapes the team talks and the vibe throughout the weeks leading up to games is to how is he going to shape this? Is it going to be a remember last season, that feeling of when it got away from us, it slipped away? He's got to be pricking these players in different ways every week to get that little bit of something else out. What's the face for?
Interesting choice of words.
But you know what I mean. But so I think again, Mikel Arteta, the experiences of last season for these players, it can't be something that is seen as a kind of a horror memory. It's got to be used as fuel.
This is second time round now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So okay, they didn't work the first year, but that hurt. You use that as oxygen next time round, and it looks to me now that there's more of an energy, there's more of a fight, there's a momentum there that perhaps wasn't there last year. It was almost a fear creeped in a little bit when you're sort of up the top and everyone's catching you. This is different now. They're on the shoulder, aren't they? We've got 12 games to go, so we've got maybe one more lap.
Does that suit them, Martin, to be there on the shoulder, just ready to pounce, do you think?
I think so. But nonetheless, you'd rather be top. Of course you would, but just change gear. Now we've got the Champions League games to think about. There's lots of other football. I think in a way the FA Cup, not being in the FA Cup, might be a blessing for Arsenal. They don't play now for another 7 days. They haven't made many changes to their group. There's sort of 25 changes they've made on average. So maybe it's a bit thinner than Man City's squad, but nonetheless it's looking really good, and the atmosphere in this home ground now for the matches.
I do think the key word is making sure that you don't allow fear to creep in from last season's the way it's finished last season.
I think they might be a little bit scarred by that.
Yeah, that could easily happen if the manager and the leaders in this team allow it to.
You've got to love it.
At the moment, it seems like they're saying, no. We don't mind being here again. We like this.
They look like they're enjoying it.
We got a good taste last season. The final taste wasn't what we wanted, but we can see ways in which we can change that, and that's the energy that seems to be filtering out right now.
Arsenal in front, 2-0. The stats do not make pretty reading for Newcastle as well. Arsenal 10 shots to Newcastle's none, 34 touches in the opposition box to 1, and 151 passes in the final third compared to Newcastle's 17th. They have been aggressive from the off. They look like they've had a stern telling off from Mikel Arteta. Rio, what are they doing differently to that Porto game?
They look like a team that were really upset with their performance midweek. But what they've done, they've changed. Martin's spoke about it in the game in the commentary, and Declan Rice moving further forward, Jorginho coming into the team. but you see the press, the intensity immediately on the front foot. There you see one of the centre-backs, Ben White, winning the ball. And look at the players all around each other, 10 yards between each other. Declan Rice in that pocket. They never got into that position in the game against Porto in midweek at all. They've done it countless times.
Yeah, and the set pieces, 18 now, is quite remarkable, really. Interesting from Kivior. If you watch his movement, and Miley just gets sucked out of that space. Just Newcastle player, look, just drifts out, and in comes that man again, Gabriel, from set pieces. He's just phenomenal. You should be making sure that that doesn't happen. It's a comedy of errors here, really. It catapults off one player and onto another, and then goes in. So that was important for Arsenal to get them into that mood. And the manager, you see him celebrating there with the set-piece coach, who's done an amazing job this year.
And then it was quickly 2-0, Rio, and there's so much good stuff to pick out of this one.
Yeah, the ball from Jorginho was exquisite, passing it forward from that defensive midfield role. The run from Martinelli here, he's stayed out wide the whole game against Porto, as we mentioned before. Comes inside, Trippier has a decision to make, makes the wrong decision, doesn't go with him, and it's a fabulous ball cut back for Havertz, so I think she's occupied the two centre-halves really well in the first half.
Normally you see Martinelli really fixed and Saka, but not today. And I think it's one of those where Trippier didn't seem to know how to respond to that. It's not in the script. Normally you stay wide. But really good run, and Havertz was a really clever, intelligent play to get into the box.
Yeah, I think Newcastle fans might be grateful. It's still 2-0 at half-time. We're going to take a break. Before that, though, some sad news to bring you, because former England and Queen's Park Rangers forward Stan Bowles has died aged 75.
Welcome back. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 2 at half-time. Comprehensive from the Gunners. Newcastle without a shot in that first half. The first time that can be said in 10 years in the Premier League. Is it Arsenal have been very good or Newcastle been off it? Or a bit of both?
Arsenal have been brilliant. Their appetite to close down, their appetite to work and take control of the ball and pass the ball around when they've got it has been superb. Where Newcastle have been embarrassing, they've been shocking. What was the word that Mikel described the referee in the Newcastle game as? A disgrace. Well, Newcastle have been a disgrace in that first half. They haven't turned up. They're a team that have come to the Emirates expecting to be beaten by that first half performance, and that is not acceptable. That is way, way off the mark. Haven't said that at all, I don't think, in Eddie's time, but that first half performance is miles away from what should be someone who's prepared to close down and tackle. Everything that Arsenal have done well, Newcastle have been shocking at.
And the one thing they've done well all season, as we know, is score goals from set pieces, and that will be Newcastle's frustration with the way they conceded the first goal.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of errors that happened in this. I think if you see the run from Gabriel to start, it comes round the back, unimposed, and gets a free header. Keeper, fantastic save. And even here in this, when the ball pops up in the middle, so he doesn't need to kind of throw himself at it. He can almost run over and clear that because it's not going goalwards, but he dives it, and then after that it's a few ricochets and it ends up coming off Botman's knee.
The problem is Gabriel being free, that he gets away. We know how good Arsenal are at set pieces, the best in the Premier League. They're really good at them. So if they cut you open by great play, you say okay, but by a set piece, I mean that sort of typifies Newcastle, sums them up really. Free run, free header, no one within 2 or 3 yards of him. Players moaning at each other instead of taking responsibility themselves, and Arsenal punished Newcastle.
Yeah, and 18 they've scored now from set pieces this season, 3 more with Everton and considerably more than most teams in the Premier League. What about the way Newcastle conceded that second goal then, Alan?
Again, I mean, good play from Arsenal, but there's just no pressure on the ball. If you look, you've got 3 or 4 players of Newcastle standing watching him pass it. You've got to get up. You've got to put pressure on the ball. Otherwise, with the players Arsenal have, really, really good players, talented players, they're going to hurt you, punish you. And I mean, Trippier's all over the place at the back. Botman's all over the place at the back. And they end up getting a tap in. Really good from Arsenal, but terrible. I mean, where's the pressure? Where's the desire to go and close someone down? You're being battered from a very good team, so you've got to roll your sleeves up. You've got to put up a bit of a fight. There's none of that from Newcastle. And if they're not careful, it'll be 5 or 6 in the second half. I would hope the manager changes things and goes mad at that team in the dressing room at half-time, because that is not acceptable.
But having said that, Arsenal really enjoyed themselves and made the most of it, haven't they?
Yeah.
I would if I was in this Arsenal team and playing against this Newcastle team as well. Like Alan said, they've got all the time and space to play exactly how they want. And when you've got a willing runner like Martinelli who's going to keep running in behind, or you got Saka who's going to come in those little pockets or go past you on the byline, it's a joy for them at the minute. That it's easy. The only pressure they got is somebody 2 yards from them. 2 yards, that sort of quality that Arsenal have will punish you. Go on.
The last 2 or 3 minutes, Newcastle got a little bit of success because they turned Arsenal. There's no harm in going back to basics. When you're being battered, just say, OK, well, instead of trying to play tippy-tappy football at the back, give it to the goal, keep back here, everyone up the pitch and try and turn Arsenal. They sort of did that in the last 2 or 3 minutes. They got a little bit of success.
Still 2-0 down to Arsenal. You mentioned about being a little bit more direct there, Alan. Did you have some sympathy with Alexander Isak in that first half?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's been so isolated. Newcastle have hardly got out their half. And whenever the ball's gone to him, there's basically been no one within 30 or 40 yards of him. And what happens as a forward then? You then go searching for the ball. You come deeper and deeper and deeper like he's doing there. And he's doing himself and the team no favours at all. But it's a really frustrating night for a forward when you're getting dominated like Newcastle have. Look, you're coming deep again, and there's just no space at all. If you can do that as much as you can, then that at least will cause Arsenal some problems by playing on the last man. But whenever the ball's gone to him, he's just had 4 or 5 players around him, and he's lost the ball, and Arsenal are straight back at Newcastle.